The famous 5 adventures. 5 to the rescue. Chapter 5. Hello, little one, Dick said soothingly. George made a coaxing motion, and managed to persuade the lamb over. With a heave, Dick lifted it onto his shoulders. The rope, Anne, throw the rope, Dick called. Using all her strength, Anne hurled the rope towards them, and, quick as a flash, George grabbed hold of it. Great throw, Anne, yelled George. Anne smiled, although they weren't out of danger yet. Dick, George and the lamb still had to get safely back into the boat. Dick and George got a firm hold on the rope. Dick had on hand holding the lamb steady on his shoulders. Julian passed the oars to Anne and pulled the others back to the boat against the tide. Oh, you darling. Anne reached out and took the lamb from Dick as he and George climbed back into the boat. She tucked the lamb inside her coat to warm it up while Timmy stood guard. Woof, he barked, giving the lamb a protective lick and a gentle nudge with his nose. We need to get it back to shore as soon as we can, Julian said, and started to row away from the cliffs, towards Curran Bay. As they got a better view of the bay, George cried, "It's Mr. Sanders. Look, he's come down to the beach." They all looked over to where a figure was hurrying along the sand towards a small boat, closely followed by Ricky the farm dog. "Perhaps he heard the lamb bleating," said Dick. Frantically the children waved and shouted from the boat to get the man's attention. At first Mr. Sanders was puzzled, but then when Anne lifted the lamb out from her coat he looked relieved. When they arrived on the shore, the 5 jumped out of the boat. George and Anne ran to meet the farmer, while Julian and Dick pulled the boat up onto the beach. Mr. Sanders beamed. "Well, I never," he said. "You've found Jeer safe and sound." There was a rock fall. She fell all the way from the cliff top into the sea, but managed to climb out onto some rocks, George explained. "How lucky that we saw it all happen. My goodness. There've been problems along this stretch of the coast for some time with the cliffs eroding, but I thought my sheep would be safe in that field. I can't thank you enough. It sounds as though you got there just in the nick of time."